Japan section of Festivals of Snow and Ice starts with a 3-night stay in Sapporo on the island of Hokkaido. We then take a 2-hour flight to Osaka and transfer to nearby Kyoto, where we stay for 3 nights. From Kyoto, we drive to Hiroshima by Hamichi Castle, and after 2 nights here, we board a flight to Chengdu in western China. Surrounded by mountains and blanketed in snow, landing in Sapporo is a spectacular sight. It will take 1 hour to transfer to our hotel, the Kyo Plaza, in the center of the city, and just 5 minutes walk from Odori Park, where the main snow festival is held. Unlike many hotels in Japan, the Kyo Plaza is spacious luxury in the heart of Sapporo. On our first morning, we take a ropeway to the top of Mount Moiwa in the forest southwest of Sapporo. From the summit, we see a magnificent view of Sapporo cityscape against the mountains. After Mount Moiwa, we explore the historic Nijo fish market, which occupies a whole block in the centre of the city. It boasts the freshest crab and sea urchins and mackerel in the country. Known as the locals' kitchen, it's a really atmospheric place for our first lunch of the tour.
Sunlight that always stays, dinner by the waterway. It's that sweet life, raise your cross, made some do cracks.
Another place that locals love to hang out in is here. Sapporo is a world-class beer dating back to 1877, and in the late afternoon we are introduced to the history of beer making at the Sapporo Beer Museum.
The memories of my new home, ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah.
After a fascinating tour of the museum, we enjoy Sapporo beer with a delicious lamb barbecue in the main beer hall.
How you feeling when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm.
Odori Park. In the summer, it is a green ribbon covering 12 blocks in the centre of Sapporo. In the winter, it is home to the Snow Festival. This festival began in 1950 as a small event, but today 13 tons of snow are truck-loaded in as locals and volunteers begin their creations. 2 million visitors will descend on this park for 1 week in February. The whole atmosphere is one of cheer and fun. At night, the festival takes on an amazing energetic vibe as mythical Japanese characters are immortalized in lasers. And just recently, the technology of projection mapping has added a new dimension to the festival at night. This character is from the Japanese epic fantasy of Attack on the Titan. The sheer scale and lighting make this the stunning showstopper of the festival. Early the next morning, we fly to Osaka. The final approach into Kansai Airport is always spectacular. We We stop for lunch 50 kilometers before Kyoto in a place called Nara. This thickly wooded park is home to magnificent shrines and temples. Sharing the park with the temples are 1,000 free-roaming deers, and they are considered messengers of gods by traditional Shinto religion. After our visit here, we take the final short drive to Kyoto. During our 3 nights in Kyoto, we stay at the Kyoto Royal Hotel. It's central and a small walk to the Shirakawa Canal, the Philosopher's Path, and the old Gion district. This morning we head to the south of Kyoto and Mount Inari. Thousands of torii gates lead us to the Fushimi Inari Shrine. All torii gates were donated by Japanese individuals or companies, and on the back of each gate there is the name of the donator and when the donation was made. The shrine itself was dedicated to Inari, Shinto god of rice. Foxes are thought to be Inari's messengers, resulting in many fox statues across the area. The shrine is ancient and dates back to the 15th century. Having a centrally located hotel and a stay of 3 nights allows us to cover this living museum with ease. We leave Kyoto for Hiroshima, but on the way we make a stop at Hamichi Castle. Hamichi is known as White Heron Castle and is probably the most spectacular and well preserved in the country. It has never been damaged by fire, war or earthquakes. The whole complex, as it survives today, is over 400 years old. At the very centre, the castle stands 6 stories, the upper levels being made of wood. The journey to Hiroshima will take us 3 hours, and we will arrive in the late afternoon. Atomic Bomb Dome, centre of Hiroshima and 300 meters from our hotel. Icon image for Japan and the world. Hiroshima, 0815, 6th of August 1945.
A short time ago, an American airplane dropped 1 bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. That bomb has more power than 20,000 tons of TNT.
The first atomic bomb in human history exploded 600 meters above the A-bomb dome. Miraculously, the vortex allowed some of the building to survive. The whole area was the busiest district in the city. It is now a hauntingly beautiful park and a memorial to 80,000 people that died instantaneously. This is a cenotaph. It signifies a shelter for the souls of the victims. The park, which is 1.2 square kilometers, has a wonderful museum dedicated to the day of the bomb. Its exhibits include melted metal and clocks and watches which stopped at 0815. There is also a superb interactive display detailing the devastation. Leaving Hiroshima, we board a flight for Chengdu to arrive in the Sichuan capital in the evening for a 3-night stay. We then head into the mountains for beautiful 9 Villages Valley, and after 2 nights here, we head south to the earthquake city of Beichuan for one night. We drive back to Chengdu in time to board a bullet train to Hangzhou for a 2-night stay. From here, we fly to Harbin for the Ice Festival and the final 3 nights of the tour. Chengdu is gateway to Tibet, and although not really well known by Westerners, it has quietly made its way into China's top 5 cities. Despite a population of 14 million, it is an incredibly laid-back place, seamlessly blending the ancient and the modern. This is Chengdu's most famous street, Jinli Road, which dates back to 221 BC. Visitors from all over the world gather to relax, admire tea houses, traditional style buildings and folk handicrafts. On one of the days we're in Chengdu, we travel outside to the most revered sacred site of China, Lishan Giant Buddha. The statue, which was completed in 803 AD, took 90 years to carve into the mountain. At 71 meters, Lishan is the tallest Buddha in the world. The dimensions are staggering, with the head alone measuring 14.7 meters in height, with a width of 10 meters. 10 kilometers outside of Chengdu is the world's largest conservation and research center for the giant panda. And this morning, we arrive in time for the breakfast crunch. Essentially a panda breeding center, the vast enclosure is home to 120 pandas. The center mirrors the panda's natural habitat, and conditions for China's national treasures are superb.
Wow!
And of course, no visit to Chengdu would be complete without sampling the world-renowned cuisine of Sichuan. In the morning, we drive to 9 Villages Valley. The journey into the mountains will take us 7 hours. Our hotel in this winter wonderland is beautifully located amongst the lofty peaks. The next day, we start to explore the valley. It was discovered only in 1972 by a lumberjack. Although it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it remains one of China's best kept secrets. The national park consists of 700 square kilometers of magnificent mountain valleys, with 9 traditional Tibetan villages nestled within the splendid alpine landscape. Nine Villages Valley was inhabited from the 1300s by a group of Tibetan pilgrims who sought refuge in the mountains. They literally hid for 6 centuries. Today, the area remains wonderfully pristine and remote, and beneath the snow-capped peaks, the valley floors are dotted with turquoise, green and pink lakes, waterfalls and forests. Many people consider this to be the most beautiful place on Earth. This morning, we drive for 6 hours through the mountains to arrive at an extraordinary destination. This is the city of Beichuan at 2:28 p.m, 12th of May 2008. The earthquake was a magnitude of 8.0. Beichuan experienced 3 types of seismic movements: pressure, shear, and surface waves that left 90,000 people dead. The damage was so great that Beichuan was completely rebuilt 20 kilometers from the earthquake epicenter, leaving the site as a vast memorial to the victims. It is the only tomb of its kind in the world. One of the most devastating earthquakes in modern history was quickly followed by an $8 billion recovery and relocation project. And this is the new city of Beichuan, where we will stay tonight. The staggering resurgence of New Beichuan is a story that is as compelling as the earthquake site itself. Early the next morning, we drive to Chengdu East Station to board a bullet train to Hangzhou. Business class is very comfortable for our 12-hour, 2,000-kilometer journey. The train will reach speeds of over 300 kilometers an hour. And as this experimental coin shows, the track is incredibly smooth. By evening, we reach Hangzhou for a 2-night stay. Situated on the terminus of the ancient Grand Canal, Hangzhou has been the inspiration of poets and writers since the 9th century. The West Lake has been immortalized in Chinese watercolors for eons, as well as the mist-covered hills and the time-worn lanes. Hangzhou is a modern and prosperous city, and it unashamedly entwines its past and present, and mingles cultural relics with rolling hills that are especially captivating with a snowy panorama. It's a balmy morning of -15 as we land at Harbin for our 3-night stay.
Our plane has just arrived and is still taxiing now. Please keep your seatbelts fastened.
Though Harbin is known all over the world for its ice festival, its proximity to Russia and this heritage make it a unique and beautiful melding of Russian and Chinese culture. The city is delightful in the summer and stunning in the winter, and today we explore historic Central Street and the Russian Quarter, where more Russians lived in the 1920s than Chinese. In the winter, Central Street has fantastic food markets, and you never know what surprises await. Next to Central Street is St. Sophia, Russian Orthodox Cathedral, built in 1907. It is an amazing spectacle at night. Harbin Ice Festival started in 1963. It is the largest and most famous in the world. "10,000 ice and snow sculptors start their work in December as temperatures plummet to a winter average of minus 16.9, perfect to retrieve and cut ice blocks from the Songhua River that weigh in at 450 kilos. After this begins the process of grating, sanding and sawing. An intricate and remarkable creation of a frozen world. But seeing the festival during the day is just the tip of the ice sculpture. This winter wonderland bursts into life at night, lighting up like a massive kaleidoscope. The rainbow colours of this magical world will be seen by 1 million people of all ages. There are ice castles, ice skyscrapers and ice slides. Travel Director's Festivals of Snow and Ice is an astonishing roller coaster that pairs deliberation of Hiroshima and Beichuan with the intensity and exhilaration of the snow and ice festivals in Sapporo and Harbin.